All right, in this tutorial, I just want to run through how to bring in photos for a stop motion animation. What we're going to do is first off, make sure that you've created a folder and you've saved your project into that folder, and also make sure that all your photos are saved into that folder as well. Remember, poor file management kills, so take the time and then save yourself all sorts of headaches later. So what I'm going to do, I've got this project saved. I'm going to go down to Import, and I've got my photos here. I've got a very short animation. So I'm going to click on the first one, hold my shift key, click on the last one, and then I can say open. And that's going to import the photos into the browser down here. I'm going to go near the edge of that one and just bring this area up a little bit just so I can see a little bit more of it. And now what I want to do is I want to bring them into the timeline. This next part over as far as speed and duration is quite important. You can find that you get into a real hassle if you don't pay attention to this portion. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click in the browser. Remember that you can always go down and change the view of the browser. If you want it to be a list rather than the icons, you can do that as well. I'm going to do Control A to select all of them, and then just Control A to select them all. And then I'm going to left click with my mouse and drag them into, oh, I didn't get them. Control A, and then left click with the mouse and drag them into the timeline. And here's my animation. All my photos have been dragged in. It actually looks like they're a little bit out of order possibly. Oh, no, not too bad. But you should just double check and make sure that they're in order. Now here's the important part. If I was to play this right now, it's going to be way too slow. And when you bring yours in, you're probably going to find the same thing, that it sets the default for each photo to last for 5 seconds, which is going to be way too long. So there's a number of different ways to change that, but probably the easiest way is just to select all those photos now in the timeline. You might have a lot more photos, so don't forget that down here you can zoom in and zoom out so that you can see them all. So there's this little bar down here, and you can left click and drag it. So then I left clicked and dragged over top of all of them. They're all white highlighted, and then I can right click with the mouse and go to speed and duration. Click on speed and duration, and the in here is the duration that it's been set at. Mine was set at 4 seconds and 29 frames per photo. So the way this works, the left-hand most set of numbers, the 2 zeros there, is hours. The next is minutes. The next is seconds, and the far right 2 numbers are frames. So frames would be like part of a second, and you know about frames from animation. So I'm going to assume that I want my photos to be about 6 frames per photo. So I'm going to click in here, and I'm just going to get rid of I'm going to put a 0 where in for the seconds. So I've got 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and then I'm going to put in 0, 6. So I'm going to try that out, and then you can try out different. Oops, I left a number in there. You can try different numbers and see what you like, whether or not 6 works out, or whether 8 or possibly 4. Maybe it's something slightly different for you, but you can try them out and see what looks like you're getting the right speed. And of course, you could select only some of them and change the speed for some of them, so that if you want part of your animation to be a certain speed and then you suddenly want some of it to be in fast motion or in slow motion, you could change the speed and duration here as well. Now, what is really important here, and this part really pay attention to, you need this to click on this checkbox here, Ripple Edit. If you don't, what's going to happen? Well, actually, I'll just show you. I'm going to change this. I'm going to say OK, and then I'll zoom in here. So it looks like I've lost them all, but I haven't. But look what's happened. It's shortened them all down, but it's left a gap in between each one. So it left them in their same spots, but it shortened them all down to a very short period. I really wanted that space in between to go away. So I'm going to Control Z, and this time I'm going to right click, go back to speed and duration. Probably have to set the time again. Yep, I do. Okay, so I'm going to change that to 0, 6. And I'm going to work my way over and get rid of the 4 there, and 0. So I've got 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 6. This time I'm going to put a check mark in Ripple Edit and then say OK. And notice that this time, and again, I'm going to zoom a little bit better so you can see it. Now it's shortened them down, but also squished them together. And now if I play it, it's much faster, and that looks much better. Okay, and then of course you could just play around with it. You could maybe 7's right for you, or 8, or maybe 5. But you can play around with it and get the right speed that you want. And again, you could set a different speed for different portions of it if you want to have some of it look like it's in fast motion or in slow motion. So that's that portion. So now something else that you should be aware of is that you can paste attributes. So if you make a change to one photo, let's just say that I don't particularly like the way these photos are set up. I'd rather them to be rotated 90 degrees. So what I could do is click on the very first one. Sorry, I'm just gonna scroll over there, scrub over, and then click on the very first one. I'm gonna click away from them all and then just select the very first one and go to Effect Controls. Again, if you don't have Effect Controls come up here, click up on these little arrows and select Effect Controls. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to, in this case, I wanna rotate. I'm gonna rotate them 90 degrees. So I'm just gonna type that in as 90 and then enter. And now that's the way I would prefer that to be. And maybe I'd want to change the scale as well. Maybe I want to increase the scale slightly until it just takes over the frame. And maybe I also want to position it slightly differently. Maybe I want to bring it down slightly. So maybe I'm going to bring it down just a little bit more until it's more centered. Okay, and something like that. Again, I'm not going to play very long here, but just to show you, you can do this with anything. Same thing, if you've got to remove green screen, you can remove green screen on one of them and then use this method. So now that I've got the changes that I want, I've got this one the way I want. Again, if it was green screen, I would do the Alt key, add it into this one picture, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on that picture. Oops, sorry, click away from it and click again. Right click and say copy. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the very next one, very next picture over, and then left click and select them all. Oops, I dragged it. I didn't want that. So I'm just going to put that back. I'm going to select from over here and just select so that I can select it. So I want to select all but the very first one now. Then I'm going to right click and I'm going to say paste attributes this time. And I can actually select which ones I want to paste. In this case, I want to paste the motion ones. Those were all under motion that I did. You may have other ones listed here for green screen and so on. But now I can say OK. And now if I go along, I should see that they've all been changed. So they've all taken those same attributes. And that's going to save you a ton of time because you're going to have a lot of photos. So you want to make a change to the very first one and then paste the attributes to the other ones that you want to have done the same way. So that's some things just to speed things up for you. And also, again, don't forget when you do the speed and duration, it's really important. So if I go to speed and duration, really important to put this check mark in the Ripple Edit box. If you don't, you're going to end up with that space in between. All right, good luck. Have fun with it.